Welcome everybody to Football, the People's Game. And today we are going to be talking about Manchester United in the English Premier League and their recent struggle in the Premier League. And today I'm having with me a special guest. He's a popular person on this show, Iroko. So Iroko is with me today in the studio. So Iroko, nice having you on the show.
Thank you for having me today.
You have become a very popular person on this show, Football, the People's Game. How has your experience been so far on this show, having the opportunity to be discussing football as a whole in general?
Well, for hosting someone like me regularly, I think I'm the most hosted
person on the show. Yeah, I think so.
It's a privilege for me.
Okay.
And I'm very, very glad to share my opinion on football analysis.
All right. Yes. So today, it's no longer a secret that you are a bona fide Manchester United fan.
That's obvious.
Yeah, it's obvious that you're a bona fide Manchester United fan. So today on the show, we'll just be talking about Manchester United and specifically in the Premier League itself. So just last night, Manchester United suffered a 2-0 defeat to Newcastle, and frustrations has started piling up for Manchester United, especially the new coach, Amorim. So what do you have to say about that last match, last night, the defeat to Newcastle?
I knew that Manchester United is a messed up team. When I saw the lineup for Newcastle versus Manchester United,
okay,
we saw the squad depth in Newcastle.
Okay,
their squad were more advanced than Manchester United squad.
Okay,
that's where you know that Manchester is nowhere. I think if they go be above 14 this season, then they did well.
Okay, yes. If they should go above 14, and currently they sit 14th position
or below.
No, 14.
14.
Yeah, actually they are 14th position with 22 points after 19 games.
All right.
And I think they are closer to the relegation than they are to the top four.
They are not more than 7 points
to the relegation.
Yes, from relegation zone.
Yeah.
For Manchester United, as a club as big as Manchester United, to be in that position after many games this season is very, very obvious. You see that the players are not willing to play, they are not ready to play. Most of these players should be second choices in most of these big clubs currently.
Okay.
Like Dalot should be a second player, not a starter
for Manchester United.
Along with every other players except for Masraoui and Ahmad.
Okay. Before the match, during the Boxing Day against Wolves, that Manchester United lost again, Amorim, in reaction to his system, has said, we have two ways. Forget the new idea and try to cope, and next year we will be here with the same problems. Or we start now, risk and suffer a little, and we will be better in the next year. That was what he said before the match on Boxing Day against Wolves. But they lost that match. And since Amorim came in with his new system, last night's defeat to Newcastle has, I think, that made the fifth defeat for him in the English Premier League using his system. Yes. So what do you have to say about that new system of Amorim? Is it promising? Because we are seeing how the Manchester United players are really struggling in that system under Amorim.
You know, when Eric Ten Hag came, he brought in the higher system, which didn't work well for him.
Yes.
And then he adjusted to Manchester United system, which as well didn't work well with him. So if you think Amorim adjusting to Manchester United system will work for him, that is a big no.
Okay.
He should stick to his own plan. If these players are not willing to play to his system, then they should bring in new players who are willing to play with the system.
All right.
That's the message I will have for them.
All right. So that is a very bold message. So looking at that Ruben Amorim system that he has brought in to establish in Manchester United, you see that there are 3 starting defenders at the back, and then wing backs left and right, 2 midfielders and 3 attackers. But at the end of the day, I think those wing backs are supposed to be occupied by wingers that are very much electrifying. but we have seen Amorim using Mazurai and Dalot at the wing backs, and that has not yielded good results, especially for the fact that they are supposed to be exploiting the wings to bring out pull-outs for the attacker, but we have not been really seeing that. So is Amorim not supposed to go ahead to start using wingers at the wing backs? He has lots of wingers like Garnacho, Rashford, Ahmad in that squad, but he has not been using the wingers rather than the defenders, thereby making the starting lineup 5 defenders in a game. Do you think that will yield positive results, starting a game with 5 defenders?
Well, it depends on the kind of wing backs you have.
Okay.
If you have an attacking minding wing backs, that's not a big problem. In fact, that's not a problem, it's a huge bonus.
Okay.
Because the wing backs will attack and at the same time defend more than wingers, natural wingers, right?
Okay.
So if you have someone like Arnold in your right wing back, you see him having lots of assists. Unlike Dalot, instead of you to bring out crosses and pull outs, you are there doing leg over for what? Our defenders meant to
dribble.
Like yesterday was making attempts on leg overs, and at the end hit the ball to throw him. Okay. So if you have good wing backs that can attack, like let's take us back to Marcelo
in Real
Madrid.
Okay.
If you have someone like that in the left wing back, you have lots of assists.
I think even if Robertson from Liverpool should even be there, he would thrive better.
You do better than those mid players in Manchester United. Yes, they are even below me.
All right.
So playing that the wing backs, using defenders as wing back, is not a bad idea.
Okay.
Rather a huge bonus for both attacking and defending.
So the shortcoming now is coming from the players that are occupying those wing backs.
Yes, coming from the player. Then playing Højlund as a lone striker is not encouraging at all. You see that Højlund is a kind of player that is always with the defenders, not creating the space between him and defenders for his teammates to create chances and give him the passes. The kind of chances he creates for himself is a type that you give it to his leg, which makes him to struggle with defenders. You see the like of Giroud and Cavani, they'll create that open space. You give them the true pass and the team you see is banger or goal, or the keeper will save it. But Højlund is not that kind of
a striker that can play as a lone striker.
Play as a lone striker. You see, if you are playing that formation, 3-man defense, 5 midfielders, 2 attackers, and 1 striker, it will work for Højlund.
Okay.
You either pair him with someone else,
okay,
that will create like a false 9 that will create the chance for him.
All right. So prior to the game last night, during the warm-up, we saw Manchester United players practicing set-piece clearance.
Let me continue. when I saw them doing that yesterday, I was very ashamed to sit in the viewing center to watch that. It's like replaying your training session during the match for your opponents to watch. And at the end, what happened?
They considered two
goals from set pieces or crosses.
Yes.
And none of our defenders or keepers made attempt to save that.
All right. In previous interviews with you here in the studio, I think after the game against Arsenal, we still talked about the same thing. Manchester United players during the warm-up coming out to practice set piece clearance, and at the end of the day conceding from same set piece. So, and it is not the first time. We have seen that against Arsenal. We have seen that in the game against Tottenham, that they were eliminated from the Carabao Cup, and then against Wolves, and then lately against Newcastle last night. And we have tall players in that Manchester United squad, massive bold, tall players in Delight, Maguire, Mazzarri, and Dalot, very tall defenders. But at the end of the day, each of these pullouts that are coming into the 18-yard box are usually claimed by the opponent's attackers that usually damages Manchester United. So the players, why are they not living up to that expectation? I don't think the central defenders actually knows their work. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes. I don't think they actually know their work. That they are supposed to be there as central defenders to do clearance, but at the end of the day, they are not doing the clearance, but rather the opponents are claiming the balls and scoring.
You saw the goal Isak scored yesterday.
Yes, the first goal.
He was standing lonely in our box, in Manchester United box.
In the box that still contained Harry Maguire, Delight, and Mazzarri.
He didn't even jump to head the ball. He was just standing, relaxed, and headed the ball. He didn't celebrate.
I think maybe
because he knew it was a cheap goal. Those goals doesn't deserve celebration.
Okay.
Like a set piece against Manchester United currently is like a penalty without a goalkeeper in the goalpost. Whenever they are playing set pieces or crosses against Manchester United, I'm always expecting goal. That's very obvious and devastating.
Okay. All right. So, in reaction to that set piece clearance, do you think Onana has something to contribute in that 18-yard box that he's not
in that
doing?
18-yard box? Onana has 70% of the workload.
Okay.
Like coming out to claim the ball. Isak was just standing there,
some inches before ahead of Onana,
and there was another one they crossed that went past Onana to the goal kick. Onana just stood there. What if someone ran from the back and headed the ball to the net? Onana has no contribution to do Manchester United. He's contributing nothing to Manchester United. I think it's high time they realize that and let him leave the club.
Okay. Yes. Okay, so still talking about the system in Manchester United currently trying to be established by Amorim. After the last night's game against Newcastle, he said that they are going to stick to the idea until the very end. But earlier on in the show, we have talked about the system, how it has not looked promising. And when he was asked about the probability of Manchester United being relegated, he said there was a possibility. So with the way things are going, by weekend, Manchester United will be playing against the most informed team in the world currently, Liverpool. So with Man United in this total shambles, can they actually put up any fight against Liverpool? The first leg, I think they lost against Liverpool.
Well, if the goal margin doesn't go beyond 7, if it doesn't go beyond 7 this time, if you can't win Wolves, struggling Wolves,
struggling Tottenham,
struggling Tottenham, which Ipswich Town won, and against Newcastle, I don't think you have any chance of playing draw against Liverpool.
They are the most informed team in the whole world.
One team won them this season, which is Nottingham Forest. Have lost no game in the Champions League.
Yes,
both first in Champions League and
first on the domestic league.
Yes, and someone from the 14th position going to play them. It's a fair game. It's not a fair game. They should have postponed. They should have postponed that match before that notice.
Until when Manchester United is ready.
Because that game, that fixture is haram currently in Manchester United. I don't think Manchester United is ready to play that.
Okay.
That match.
Okay. Now, with Ruben Amorim's reaction after the last night's game against Newcastle and saying Manchester United relegation probability is a possibility.
It's a possibility. That's true. That's a fact.
So, what do you think Manchester United can do or should do to bring themselves back up, at least?
Well, since the transfer window is already open from tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow it will be open.
Yes, it's already open. So, if a serious club that is struggling should be in the market transferring players or making deals already. So, they should allow the manager to go for the players he knows will play the types of formation he wants to play.
So, in reaction to the January transfer window that you just made mention of, I think Ruben Amorim reacted to that last night as well. And I think from his reaction, I'm not sure we would be seeing any new incoming players to Manchester United during the transfer window.
You know what? You know what I noticed about Amorim giving those players playing time. He's just like exposing them. Look at the kinds of players you have. That's what he's trying to express.
So it's a message that he's sending out.
Yes, it's a message. Any club, any president of a club should know that this is a clear message that these players are not the kinds that will play competitive games
For a club like Manchester United.
So if he says he wants a player, he should go get the player for him. Then if he doesn't improve or shows his worth for Manchester United, that's when we start having talks on how to sack him.
Okay. All right. So since Ruben Amorim came in after some few games, there was this clash between him and Marcus Rashford, and in the last 4 games, he has been sat out. And last night we saw Rashford being included in the squad. At the end of the day, Rashford was an unused substitute on the bench. Do you think Rashford actually has that potential to thrive under Ruben Amorim if he should be willing to play?
If he should be willing to play, then he should be ready to train hard.
Okay.
Because if you are one of the best players that trains hard, I don't see any reason for a coach to bench you. Most of the things we don't know is that whenever a player is sidelined, we always criticize the coach, but we don't know what's behind the scene. If the player is training well, if he's not training well, like how they exposed the second goalkeeper to us. We've been agitating. Why are they not using the second goalkeeper? Why are they not using it? Only to be used. Then he dropped a stinker against a struggling Tottenham. So if a coach has to bench a player, then that shows that the player has not been playing well or training well. So I don't see anything bad in the coach benching Rashford.
Okay. All right. So finally, before we go, Zexi was substituted just some minutes before the first half, and we saw some unusual reactions from him. First, the moment he was substituted, he got his jacket and went into the dressing room. But some minutes later, he came back. So in reaction to that, Ruben Amorim said that we are all humans and it is stirred from emotions. That is, Zexi's reaction was stirred from emotions. That he went into the dressing room, but at the end of the day, he came back and sat on the bench again outside to support the team. What do you have to say about that Zexi behavior last night?
If you are going to behave like that, then it should be Ronaldo. Yes, he dropped a stinker in that match. I don't think he gave up to 5 successful passes, and the passes that was thrown to him, he had bad controls on it. I thought he was going to be substituted after 20. He was lucky. He played almost 30
or thereabout.
Yes. So if you are going to react like that, it should be Ronaldo, not someone like you that doesn't have a profile. So it's a shame to me to behave like that.
Okay. All right. So finally, before we go, with the way things are with Manchester United, what do you think Manchester United can take out positively from this season at the end of the season?
They are out of the Carling Cup.
Yes.
They are still in the Europa, the FA Cup.
The FA Cup
against Arsenal.
Yes.
They have already forfeited that FA Cup.
So you don't see Manchester United winning against Arsenal?
No, they are not winning Arsenal.
Okay.
But I think they have an upper hand in the Europa.
Okay.
If they bring in new goalkeepers. So Manchester United chances of winning the Europa is still 70%.
Okay.
Yes.